Welcome back, guys. Today we will be working on my 2002 Chrysler Town Country LXi, otherwise known as Scorpion. We got a lot going on in this video. We've got brake work, we've got water pump, gasket seals, all kinds of good stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so we're actually in here to do some work on the brakes here because they stick. I'm doing some inspecting, so the brake pads look fine. And the hose is new, so hopefully that's not like a terrible hose. I doubt that's the issue, but I had a weird shake once in a while too that wasn't brake related. And if we move the hub here, if you watch right there, can I trying to find a spot where I can push it. I don't know if you can see that, but that's moving. That's a brand new control arm. So I gotta see if that bolt's loose like it don't look like it is, and hopefully tighten it up. Otherwise that control arm's shot, and it's a brand new one. That's terrible. But that's completely unrelated to the brake work we're doing here, and hopefully we just need to grease these slide pins. We'll see. That's what I'm gonna try first, and we'll see what that does. But that's an issue right there. That explains that shake I was feeling. I'll have to check driver's side too when I get over there. But otherwise we look fine elsewhere. The shock is blown, but that's okay. This has got an alignment bolt in it. Alright, so I just topped off the brake fluid, but I got this all swapped over. I decided to swap everything over from the set I got off of a 2007 at U-Polar Parts. And that 2007 had recently had a brake job. As you can see, it's got a new rotor. Honestly, everything here looks like it's been painted, so this is probably a refurb is what my guess was. Slide pins look great when I took them off. This looks like the OEM line from '07, and I opted for that over that because that wasn't really a good fit. This fits proper. I was able to get that brake line loose again with a little bit of fighting, a little bit of heat, but not bad. I got the bleeder cracked loose right now, and I'm waiting for it to gravity bleed. And I'll go over and I'll work on the other side. Well, that does its magic here, I think. Actually, I'll probably bleed this side and then just be done with it. Just because of the way I jacked it up. I jacked it up on the subframe here instead of on the front motor mount. So I might just finish up this side, which means I will try tighten that down real quick. And then I'll just put my self-bleeder on this, and then I'll just pump the pedal a few times. I got everything greased up proper. This caliper moves back and forth nice and easily, so we should be good here as long as this hose is good, which I have a feeling it was. I have no concerns about that hose right now. So yeah, that's where we're at anyway. But yeah, we got everything replaced. The bracket, the caliper, slide pins have been greased. This hose is technically replaced. And the rotor as well. Alright, so I was able to get that tightened up a little bit. It does not appear to move anymore. Used my lovely 24-inch bar. It's 21 and 13/16 on this side because that's what I had for the wrench. I had that butted up against the frame here, and then obviously set this guy to town on that side. So hopefully that holds tight. Anyway, the symptoms of that is what I would feel particularly is when the transmission would shift, like from third to fourth, you'd feel the steering kind of wobble. Is it probably shifted here, so it kind of wobbled like that. Going down the road it was fine, it didn't move. But you could feel it when the transmission shifted. I assume that's when it kind of engaged here and on the other wheel, and depending on where you were at, it kind of shifted. That's what I felt anyway. But brakes done on this side, that's all done, it's bled. Get this wheel back on the ground. Give up on that one. See if this drips. That's probably okay. We're gonna pretend that's okay, because I can't get that off and I don't have the torch to do it. It's dripping, so in theory it's good. Seemed to work. We'll drive around for a little bit, we'll see what happens. Alright, the hub's hot. That one's not hot. And that one's nice and cool. Check the rears for shits and giggles. Cold. Cold, they're not sticking. Alright, we fixed the brakes. Very good. So we did caliper bracket, obviously the slide pins and the pads and the rotor on this side, and we did all of that plus the hose on that side. The only reason we didn't do the hose on this side is because I couldn't get it off and it was good. So cool. Now we got brakes in the front from a 2007 Dodge Grand Caravan, I believe, on our 2002 Chrysler Town and Country. And that is the last major thing I need to do. An old Scorpion here. That would be her name. But now I just got a couple minor things to do. Clean up, tidy up. And I believe I'm actually going to put this one up for sale. Runs good. Looks decent. Honestly, I don't drive it enough to really justify having it. I could say that about a lot of them actually, but this one's new enough that it's actually worth something to a regular person. And I got my eyes on something a little different. And I gotta make a little bit of room. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not a motivated seller per se. But if somebody wants to pay what I'm asking, I'm not gonna say no. Yeah, runs alright. Actually I'll drive it to work tomorrow. We'll just make sure these brakes hang in there. So, sweet. That'll do it for this episode, however this winds up, or, you know, that'll do it for the brakes. Alright, so we're back on my 2002 Chrysler Town Country LXi, otherwise known as Scorpion. And we've got to do some work on this cluster here. The needle for my speed and my fuel don't glow when you turn the lights on. Sometimes this one comes back on, but not often. So we get some bulbs to replace. And to do that, you have to pull the cluster out. And you can do that without doing any dash work. It helps having the tilt steering wheel. Tilt your steering wheel all the way down like that as I drop you when I do it. And then you've got to take this panel off, which I already did right here. It just pulls up right here, comes out of this clip. And you've got one screw here, one screw there, and then one up here, one up there. And then this panel kind of squeeze and come out the side. And then you've got one screw here, 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 and there behind there for the cluster. Then that folds forward and comes out the side. There's one plug up here that you can get on the top. And then your cluster's out. And I'm going to do that right quick. Alright, cluster's out. I got the cluster here. I already pulled the fuel one out. And here, if you can focus on that, not my gross ass fingers. It oh, almost there. There you go. You can see it. You can see the filament on one side and not the other. It's blown. So all you gotta do is these twist out and you pull them up, and then you twist new ones in. We gotta go through these guys, and I bet you they're all bad. And then we gotta poke around at some of these other ones. We'll see how they look. And yeah, just replace them. And you can get these, I think you can probably get them new in packs, or you can go to the junkyard and you get a pile of them and do whatever you need to do to get a hold of some new ones here. Alright, so you can tell if I do that. Look at that. We've got light on there, we got light on there, we got light over here, and we got light over here. We had 5 bulbs that were bad. We had the one that was bad here, all 3 were bad here, and we even had one negative. The bad bulb here, all 3 here, and we had one here that was bad. So, yeah. That should be nice tomorrow. Well, I guess not tomorrow morning. I got tomorrow off. But, yeah, anyway, when I go back to work, I will probably drive this, mostly because it's got a full tank of gas. Yeah, and that will be nice. We'll see how that is. But there you go. There's a quick little video on replacing that. This will probably get put in with a couple other things I'm tidying up on this van. So, boom. Boom. All back together. I even managed to save the dust. So, cool. Yeah, we cover that up. Look at that. Everything appears to be glowing. That is a good sign. Is the coolant one glowing? Yeah, is that one glowing? Not like I did anything to that one. I swear it was glowing, but it's not, is it? So we go over here. You can obviously see that one's glowing. That one might not be. Uh-oh, might have to do this again. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's glowing. Dang it, guys. I swear it was just a minute ago. whatever, I'll look at that again. I got smart. I got my coat up here, and I'm in here. Yeah, those 3 are all glowing now, but that one isn't. Dang it. That's... Yep, we're going back in. Well, there we go. I swear that wasn't burned when I took it out and looked at it, but it was cooked when I took it out the second time. So, I don't know, it was probably ready to go, and just shaking it did that one in, especially with how many were burned out originally. So we had 6, I think, of 8 bulbs were burned out in that. Very good. Now we are fully lit up once again. And that'll do it, because I'm not going to come back after I put that back in. The trim back in. I still have the trim out again, because I wanted to check beforehand. But there we have it. So I got this power liftgate latch about a year ago. And now we're going to put it in. Yeah, so this guy never opened from the outside. The button never worked, and it's got a power liftgate motor that didn't work. Turns out it was this guy. I had this one all apart, and there's an electric motor in there. There's 2 of them actually. One that pulls the lock back, and one that triggers the unlock. I believe the unlocking motor works, but the one that pulls the latch out to let the power liftgate engage does not. So we have this here. So you gotta pull your panel off, which is 2 screws in the handle and a bunch of clips, but you gotta have these pulled back so you can because it slides in under that. So you gotta pop those loose. Otherwise it comes out, and then we've got 3 star-tipped, I don't know, they're like, what, a T30 probably, a T35, maybe a 40, I don't know, we'll see. And that should let that drop. But you've got that red rod, I say red because it's got a red clip. You've got him to pull, and then your plug, and that should do it. And then we'll just swap this one in, plug it in, and hope it works. If not, that would be sad. So, yeah. Oh, press the right button. Ah, would you look at that? Now, should be able to. Does that catch it or no? Very least I can do that. And now I can open it from the outside, from the rear, as well as in the vehicle. But I think, I don't know if that doesn't work that way. It sounds like it should, though. I don't know that. I don't think it will. Whatever. So I can open it with the button there. It unlocks this latch, and it opens. So I replaced the latch, and the latch immediately clicked and locked, which means it worked. So I was able to do that. But when I would try to open it, it would make a loud popping noise, and then the motor would say no, and then shut and lock again. So Chrysler Forums has saved us again. We got ourselves some fluid film here, and we got ourselves a liftgate strut. This strut was on the left side here, and this is where I would hear the popping from. Anyway, what they were saying is it's the joints in your strut bind up. That, and a combination of a weak strut, causes it to bind, and then when the motor senses a bind, it says no thanks and shuts. So I replaced this strut here. See how I can move this one nice and free? The other one I couldn't really do that. I tried to free it up and lube it, but it wouldn't. I mean, it kind of. So like this joint moves, This joint's kind of, I guess it moves now. It might have freed up just sitting here, but I also think that this strut was too weak. But it would bind and click, and it would do that too when I'd unlock it with the key and pull it up. And I always thought it was the motor, but it is not. So yeah, it was just this strut. So I replaced the strut, and we are back in business. But I also fluid filmed the joints on this one, this guy, and on this one, doing the hard work over here. So yeah, that does it, and now it works. Cool. It's only been like that since I owned it, which is more than a year now. But hey, that's a bonus, I believe. Will these not work with the key out? Nope. Nope, that one just shut. That one's working. This one's not working right now. Will it work if I press the button? No, it will not. It's because it's locked. Dumbass. That lock seemed kind of slow to react to open. But there it goes. Really need to lube that lock. Now does this shut that off? No, what does this do? Is that for this? Let's see. What does that do? What do you think that does? Somebody tell me what that does. Yeah, everything seems to work now. Well, I think I found my coolant leak, guys, on my 2002 Chrysler Town Country. I noticed over here when it was cold, there just looked like there was a little puddled up right here, so I dried it up, but I think and I'm like, oh, it stopped, but I think I actually just kind of pushed oil into that channel. I went and I cranked this one down, that one down, the one back there down, that one, and then I fired it up. I've been letting it run here. One of my leaks is down there on the steel lines going back. That one I gotta figure out a way to extend the rubber on that or figure something out for that, but that's not a big deal. But I don't think that's my main leak, because if you look here, right there, see that kind of wetness right there just on the edge of the head there? Coolant is coming out of the valley right there. So I think the valley gasket's leaking, unfortunately. And what that means is the intake's got to come off, and then the upper intake plenum's got to come off here, and then the lower intake has to come out, and that valley gasket has to be replaced. Good news is I think I have a gasket. I think I have one. Bad news is I got to take the intake off, so I think we're going to do that, because there's no way I'm going to be able to get at any of these other bolts and try tighten on them. So that's unfortunate. I mean, I'm going to watch it here a little bit more, but I'm pretty certain that's where my leak's coming from, is the valley gasket. Alright guys, so it's time to repair this coolant leak. And the way we're going to do that is replace this section. See these two rubber hoses here? We're going to take those off where it turns into aluminum here. And we're going to replace them with longer chunks. And we're going to cut the line back here to where it isn't leaking. And put new sections of rubber over it and double clamp it down. But The reason this leaks is because of this stupid bar here. I mean, well, the reason it leaks, let me correct myself here, is because it's made of steel. And it's crudely painted over and exposed to this guy day in and day out. And then the paint fails and it rots. But this this bar here, it is particularly weak because it will leak here every time on every vehicle. Well, I say every caravan on the ones that are made of steel here. So yeah, we're gonna cut back to where I feel comfortable with the line, and then we will run 2 new 5/8 hose to it, and then we'll probably use some fashion of zip ties to secure it to the AC lines here, since we lose this bracket. So I will show you what I come up with after I'm done with that. So, yep, it's gonna be a mess too. I'm gonna lose all the coolant everywhere, and gotta go get a pan so I catch it all. So what I'll probably do is I'll take the lines off here first, and I will catch the coolant, and then I'll be able to cut this without getting coolant in my eyes everywhere. So that'll probably be the best way to do it. Alright, so here's our pipe, and there's our hole. As you can see, this thing just fell apart as I broke this bracket off, just bending it off here. So it's under here, it just rots away. This pipe over here is thick. If you look here, nothing wrong with the rest of the pipe. Obviously the paint's come off and it's rusted over, but that's still structurally there, and I took that out with a Sawzall. But yeah, this right here, it's where they put this bracket on. And that's quite the failure right there. Well, that's the fix right there. That should work. I got it double clamped here and a bunch of extra rundown off of that. And then I've got 2 load-bearing zip ties to replace that. And to cure some people's concerns here, and mine really, I'm going to do this before I forget. With one hand here, this kind of sucks. There, fixed, addressed, and then we've got the OEM clamps here. So, ow! Oh, that hurt. Ow, I just hit myself right in the face with that. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. So, yeah. Anyway, this should hold. We're gonna fill it up, and we're gonna find out, I guess. You know, there's never just one leak, guys. Never just one leak. And I think I might have found the other leak. See that water pump pulley? And do you see that drip on there? Isn't that nice? I was back over there where our new lines are, and I'm like, whoa, what is this leak up here? And I'm like, oh, maybe it was dripping off the subframe and rolling forward. I'm like, no, it's all dry. So I get up under the front here, and it never fails. That is the water pump weeping. Of course it is. Nice. Okay, well, now we're here, so let's move this light. Let's get my hand up here. Let's wiggle on that pulley. There, you guys. I don't feel that bad, but it's also under tension right now. I'll have to pop that belt off and feel that water pump, but don't matter, it's weeping, so I'm SOL either way, so, because the seal has failed. Alright, so I got it up in the air here. And you can kind of, I think I can hear that water pump pulley making a little bit of racket, just a little bit. But here, if I turn this on, you can see the wetness right here where that water pump's dripping. So, that's cool and all. But, come over here. You remember, I think I mentioned it before, I thought it was leaking from the top end of the motor somewhere, and you can see right here, it's dripping, and that drip is coming all the way up, or from down from top here. And we go up here, and it's running down. It's coming from the valley here, and I think it's running down the head and going down and dripping there. So, unfortunately, I do think I'm going to have to do the valley gasket on this. Kind of sucks, because I had the, when I bought this, I had the top end of the intake plenum off to get at the plugs, to do the rear plugs and stuff. And I resealed all that and all, you know, I've already been there. So, kind of sucky, but whatever, got to be done, I guess. They're cheap. I'll have to look around. I might already have a plenum gasket for this, or one that will fit, but I'll have to look around. Otherwise, they're like 30 bucks. You get the whole kit and caboodle. So, but yeah, I got. You see the water pump, which is that guy right there. So you got to do a water pump, and then we got to do the intake plenum. All right, guys. So we got our Fel-Pro intake gaskets. This is the number I got, just for your reference here. And then we've got some RTV to go over the coolant jackets as well. But what we got to do here is we have to remove my custom zip tie here, unfortunately. And then I believe in this case we pop this plastic intake top off, which requires removing this plug, these two vacuum hoses, and the power steering reservoir, which I believe you can just flip off to the side. And that's 1, 2, 3. As you can see, that's the wrong screw. We're going to replace that with the right one when we put it back in, because I lost one, put that in, and then I located that screw, but I just never put it back in. And then it's 4, 5, 6. Actually, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Got to remove this PCV hose as well. And I believe we'll just unplug this, remove these two lines, or the two cables, and we'll take this whole top off in one piece, potentially. Or at least take it off here. We'll see. Anyway, the top intake's got to come off, and then you'll be able to remove this lower intake after that. You'll have to remove the fuel rail, it looks like. But and probably this guy right here. And I think the thermostat's got to go with it. But I might keep that hooked up and pivot it off, maybe. Or take this hose off and keep the whole thing together. That way I don't have to do that gasket there. So, yeah, anyway, I'll put you on the stand here and you get to watch as I do this. didn't take too terribly long. It's kind of, I had the two 10mm bolts there to sneak out, but look at the moisture in here. It's definitely had fluid coming in here and then seeping out right here. That's where I've been seeing it go out and down and then around. But I also saw some over on this side at one point too. So, yeah. A little bit of crud there I don't want falling down there if I can help it. Coolant jacket here is pretty orange. But yeah, there's fluid behind here and everything, and it had to have been seeping by. Probably this one right here, you can see the orange, see it? That's on the outside of the seal here. It was definitely getting by that. I don't think it was really getting by that one, but it was definitely seeping by that one. You can see the orange on the outside. So that should hopefully be our culprit there. Very good, very good. So, alright, yeah, I gotta get that gasket out. Get the new one ready, get some RTV, clean this all up, and then we're gonna slap it back together, and then do a water pump at the same time, and then put it back together again, and then hope neither of them leak. Good time to do a PCV valve while we're in here. Yeah, good time to replace this while I'm in here. I'll see if they've got one in stock. Don't know why I didn't do that last time. But last time I didn't have this lower intake off. I did the upper intake and I cleaned the throttle body, did all that stuff. I think I'll see if they have that, and I'll see if they have some O-rings for the fuel injectors so I can do the bottom. It looks like the top O-rings have been done, so the fuel rail had been off because they're different color and they're more pliable, but the bottom O-rings, the ones that go into the actual lower intake, look OEM. So I'll see if I can replace those 6. Otherwise, yeah, I don't see anything too out of the ordinary here. Looks, you know, about as it's gonna. Cool. This thing is pretty freaking rotten right here, guys. I think I'm gonna replace that. Unfortunately, who's to say that isn't a potential source of a leak too, a pinhole somewhere in there. That thing is bad. So we'll crack this off and see how the thermostat looks. I know the thermostat works, so I probably won't buy a thermostat, but I'll get the housing and the gasket if they have it. I'll make sure they have it first before I take this off, otherwise I'll just RTV the piss out of it. Motor Rad, 195. Alright guys, a little bit of a fast forward here. So it was 67 and sunny when I got this apart and I was cleaning this off. And then the wind started picking up and now it is like 49, 50 degrees and 30-mile-an-hour wind right now. We're under a wind advisory anyway. So it's kind of cold, so I kind of sped up here. I got the intake all cleaned off. I brought it inside, scraped all the surfaces with a razor blade, and then I took some carb cleaner, manifold cleaner. I don't know. I went through a couple bottles. I showed a clip of that one bottle. It was from 2001. I picked that up for free at like a free pile. Somebody's clearing out their shed, and I used that bottle up. It actually the seal inside started going, so it kept going. It wouldn't stop, so I just had to use that quick. But the intake cleaned up okay for just a quick hack job. Way better than it was. All the oil's off it anyway. It's kind of silvery. Yeah, so I got that. I got the intake, and then I got that off, got it all cleaned up. And then I took our new valley gasket under there, and I applied RTV on the two heads, where the two heads meet the block on both sides, and then that whole thing. And then on that gasket itself, around each corner here on the coolant jacket, I applied a bead of RTV as it goes onto the head. And I meant to apply a bead of RTV where it meets this, but I forgot, as I just realized talking through it now. But I think the bead on the head's going to help, and it kind of, it is what it is. You shouldn't need it. Got it screwed down real good, so that's all in. And then I got this valve cover back on. I took this off. I kind of wanted to take a peek at everything, make sure everything was in order-ish. And it made it easier to get in here and clean this all up. I had more clearance to see over. And then I cleaned this up, cleaned that gasket back up, and then cleaned that surface, and I just got that back down. And obviously, this is the valve cover you see, so now she looks all nice and shiny. Once again, we have to get the thermostat housing, and we're going to get a thermostat because it's all cruddy, and we're in there. So we'll put a thermostat housing. Got to get the O-rings for the fuel injectors, and then we got to get that PCV valve. And I got to pick up a new bottle of brake clean. But while I'm doing that, that's why I wanted to get this in first, so that RTV had time to set. I also put a little bit of RTV on this housing here for the inlet hose for the heater core, just because it was kind of cruddy looking. This one I shouldn't have to do that. I'll probably apply a thin bead anyway. Next guy's going to hate me, but the next guy is not me, and hopefully he shouldn't have to because it won't leak. So hopefully there is no next guy. The next guy will be replacing the motor or junk in the thing. So we're going to call that a day here. So I got to go clean up, make my trip to O'Reilly's, not freeze my ass off here like I am right now, and get our little list of parts here and finish putting this back together. It'll be dark, but I don't know if I'll record much more rather than showing you the finished product. I'm not going to do the water pump tonight because I had to make a run to O'Reilly's. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Alright, so I'm back from the old parts run. I've got our new thermostat housing on with our new gasket and new thermostat and some RTV to go with it, and that's on there now. And I should note on these housings and the thermostat, they have 2 notches, so the thermostat can only go in one way, so you can't get it wrong. Just so you know. I didn't know that till I had a new one because the old one was so rotten that I couldn't tell. This one has the flare still present. On the one I just took off, the flare is completely rotted off, and the entire pipe is corroded, so I didn't trust it. I wasn't going to play games because I'm trying to fix all the coolant leaks so we don't leak coolant, you know. So we got a new housing. I think that was like 25 bucks at O'Reilly's. Thermostat was 11. Anyway, I've got the old PCV valve out now, and just so you know that this has been on there a long time. That's a Pentastar logo. That's old. That thing needed to be disappeared on. Now we've got this microguard one that does not have a Pentastar logo. So, in you go, little buddy. Time to put in some work. If I can, there it goes. There's threading. I'll have to go back there with a wrench. The old one came off like by hand, but this one's got some good thread locker on it, so I'll have to go in there with a, I don't know, what is that, like an 18 mil wrench or something. I'll go in there and tighten that down. So, I think next thing I got to do here is put the plate back on for the our spark box. What do you call that? A coil pack. Got to put the plate in for the coil pack. Put the coil pack on, and once the coil pack's on, I got to get my new fuel injector O-rings, get them on the injectors and on the rail, and I drop the rail in. And from there, it's just putting the upper intake on, connecting everything up, and sending her home. And then don't put coolant in it because I got to do the water pump tomorrow morning. So, yeah. I think next thing you'll see, I'll be done with the intake probably, or at least have the fuel rail on. Might have been a little off on that measurement. That's 15/16. So, you know. Alright, rails back on with the new O-rings. Just had my dad crank it over, and I looked down, make sure we're not leaking here, and make sure the injectors are firing. They were. When I did that, I had this unplugged, so we had no spark, so it didn't do whack things. So, you know. But, get these clipped in here before I forget. So we should be all good here. Clip the red pieces down, the ones that still exist on these injectors. They all broke, except for that one, really, but they're not coming off. It's just a locking clip. So I think all we got left is put the intake on, which I'm going to clean the surface off real quick, and I'm going to take the intake in and clean that off and put the new rubber like O-rings on that. Then they'll just slap that on there, plug everything in, and we should be good to at least start it, make sure we still run, and going to be able to check leaks for coolant until we do the water pump, I think tomorrow. And then we'll fill it up and go from there and bleed the whole system and all that jazz. Alright, I think we're done, if I haven't forgotten anything. So we got the fuel rail in, tested the fuel rail. Got the intake on, bolted down. I didn't replace that screw, instead I moved it back there where I can't see it. So, it's the same I bought it at O'Reilly's, I think, as just a screw, because I brought one of these in. Or I bought it wherever, hardware store or something. I don't remember, because I lost it and I dropped it. I knew it hit the ground, and I didn't find it until I backed it out from where I had it. But I couldn't find where I put the screw now, since I've been, you know, not putting it back in. But anyway, I got the screw in. This connector's hooked up. These vacuum lines are hooked up. Power steering reservoir is back in. I dropped that screw. I heard it fall down there. I lost it. I can't find it. It's dark. So I grabbed a different one of the same. The threads are the same. The head size is a 10 instead of an 8. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Throttle body's on, hooked up. This is tight. Air cleaner's on. This is tight. This is tight. I got the recirculation hose tube thing on the bottom here plugged in. Both the sensors plugged in. Map sensors plugged in. Everything's tight. I think it's ready to start. Please start. Seem like it's missing. Can't tell. Or is it just shaky? You know what I did notice? That valve train noise is gone. That's the weirdest thing ever. So it had some valve train noise. It's completely gone. And it was up here. And I didn't do anything but wiggle on the push rods. That doesn't do anything, really. I just want to make sure they all spun, and they did. They all move freely. That had valve train noise, and it's gone. I think it's running on all 6. Sounds fine. Just... That's weird. Oh, yeah. What the fuck? I didn't do anything. I mean, I replaced the gasket, but I didn't do anything. And all of the engine noise is gone. Ah, that's cool. That's the best I've ever heard that motor sound. That's crazy. So, I put a little bit of seafoam in it the other day. As you can see, it's out here. For shits and giggles. But, like, that was a couple days ago, and I've run it since then. What? Isn't that neat? Huh. I don't know, man, but that motor sounds mint. Wow. Well, okay. So the only thing I hear now is that water pump, I think. Huh. I'm pretty sure you guys might be able to hear the valve noise or valve train noise in earlier clips. I don't know, man. Well, it's running fine. Obviously, we have no coolant, so that's another problem. I mean, I can... Okay, whatever. Not gonna ask questions. I don't care. It's running good. Yeah. I don't know, man. Running off some fluids on the exhaust there. I mean, there's coolant in it, I guess, in the radiator, but I don't know that there's enough in it to see any leaks here, but I don't see any right now. Okay. I'll shut her down and leave her at that and come back and do a water pump tomorrow. There's our beautiful water pump. Okay, mission success, guys. Mission successful. Yeah, that's whack. That's crazy. Okay, whatever. Maybe a stroke of good luck for all the misfortune I've gone through today. So, cool. Get that out of here. It's bothering me. Okay. Alright, guys. Well, that's going to be a wrap for the night. I'm going to work on this tomorrow. Alright, it's next morning, as you can see. And let's see if this is a fluke or not. Or is the noise gone? It's gone. Alright, yeah, it's gone. That noise is completely gone. So, perfect. That's great. Good news.